I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. You know, so you know what I'm saying. I'm with it. So you know, I'll be going for Bud. You know,
I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. You know, like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. You know.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how?
Yeah, he's right, dude. He's right.
How? You know, he fought in one division. You know,
never unified the belts.
He unified.
After a long silence, Errol Spence has finally called for a rematch with Terence Crawford. This comes after Crawford recently called Spence a substandard fighter. Although it may seem too late to go for a rematch now, Spence has taken his chance and challenged the two-time undisputed champion, especially after facing several disrespectful comments from Crawford.
I would never want to fight him coming off an accident like that. Because when I beat him, then y'all gonna say it was because of the accident. He fight. He beat Danny Garcia. I was in the crowd. I said, nah, he can't beat me. That's the first time I seen Spence fight live. I said,
so you knew then when you seen that?
I'm like yeah, because you know it's different on TV than when you watching it up close in person.
He
did unify.
You know,
IBF.
He unified.
IBF, was it?
He had 3. He had the WBC,
but he didn't unify all 4. He wasn't undisputed.
Huh?
He wasn't undisputed.
He wasn't. No, but what I'm saying is, they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. You know, he beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
Errol Spence's first fight with Terence Crawford didn't go well, and it's one of the main reasons his reputation as a boxer took a major hit. His performance was seen as embarrassing and is something fans won't easily forget. Unfortunately for Spence, many people in the boxing world now define his career by that loss. He called for a rematch on social media while reacting to a video, where Crawford was asked in an interview if Spence deserved a...
Along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments just off of pure hate. So what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes?
People say, oh, well, maybe it was the weight or whatever the case is. What do you think about that? Like, talking about the weight at 154?
Well, I wasn't worried about that. I felt stronger than him. You know, I felt that I punched harder than him. I felt as if I hurt him many of times.
As expected, Crawford disagreed and said that Errol Spence wouldn't make it into the Hall of Fame if he retired right now. That's what pushed Spence to fire back at him on social media. The level of disrespect has gotten out of hand.
Hold his head up, you know, it's a learning experience. You know, you just bounce back from it. It's about how you come back and how you show people that, you know, that it's happening young in your career. And some of you
said, you know what I mean, that's a good win. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or, you know,
I understand
things like that, but I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the...
Of course, this must have struck a nerve with Errol Spence, whose last appearance in the boxing world was when he was promoting a fight for a boxer signed to his promotion. It was a bout for the WBA lightweight title. Since losing to Terence Crawford in 2023, Spence hasn't returned to the ring. Before that fight, many believed Spence and Crawford were evenly matched, but Crawford dominated and gave Spence the first loss of his professional career. Spence now holds a record of 28.
Yeah, but I just felt like, you know, he came prepared and he was ready and he fought a good fight.
Yeah.
He was awkward, he was patient, he was determined, he stuck to his game plan, and he did what he had to do to...
Errol Spence recently opened up on social media, saying that the worst thing he ever did as an athlete was drinking. His post got a response from Gervonta Davis, who is set to fight Lamont Roach tonight. Spence wrote, Worst thing I did to myself was drinking. If you're an athlete, focus on the end goal. Hopefully it leads to a better life for you and your loved ones. Despite his loss to Crawford, Spence has had an impressive career. However, that defeat brought a wave of criticism, with some fans now questioning if he still has what it takes. In response, Spence fired back on X, formerly Twitter, saying, "Some of y'all use he washed too loosely."
He's money hungry, he's looking at money and he's trying to cash out and this and that. I've been getting money for years. I've been getting millions for years.
Yeah.
And I'm not stupid with my money.
Right.
As you can see, I don't buy no Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and, you know what I mean, walk around with 100 people around me and I got all this jewelry that I done bought.
Before his loss to Terence Crawford, Errol Spence was the unified welterweight champion, holding the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles. He remained a unified champion from 2017 to 2023. Although he hasn't fought in nearly 2 years, Spence is still only 34, and fans can expect him to face a big-name opponent when he returns. Meanwhile, two-weight undisputed champion Terence Crawford has stirred controversy with his recent comments about Spence. The two last faced off in 2023, when Crawford completely dominated the fight and handed Spence a one-sided defeat. Since then, Spence hasn't returned to the ring. He did have the option to activate a rematch clause, but he chose not to follow through with it.
He got caught. He should have boxed a little bit more, but, things happen. You got to learn from it. Definitely, it was exciting. I hope build up to it and leading up to it, too. So it's something that, I wouldn't change for nothing, and I'm definitely open to the rematch, and hopefully it'll be at 154.
More recently, Errol Spence was in talks to fight WBC and WBO super welterweight champion Sebastian Fundora, but the fight never came together due to several delays. This led many to believe that Spence might not return to the ring at all. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford has continued to rise in the boxing world. The Nebraska native is now set to face Canelo Alvarez in a massive fight this September. Ahead of that bout, Crawford appeared on the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, where he claimed that Spence doesn't deserve a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame, saying Spence hasn't achieved enough.
Has crazy power that he believes in, and has a great chin too, because he's a guy, he'll let you get out punches.
I could retire right now and still make it into the Hall of Fame. He couldn't, Terence Crawford said during the Pound for Pound podcast. Everything I've already achieved, he's still trying to achieve. Crawford went on to explain his point further, saying he fought in just one division. He unified 3 belts. People already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook, who was coming off a loss and an eye injury. Crawford did acknowledge Spence's win over Sean Porter, calling it a good victory, but said it still wasn't enough. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or anything like that. I just honestly don't know if he'll make the Hall of Fame with what he's accomplished so far. While Crawford raised some valid points, fans and experts have disagreed with his take. Veteran boxing trainer Kevin Cunningham responded by saying, "In my opinion, Errol Spence Jr. has done enough to eventually make it into the Hall of Fame. He was an Olympian, won 3 world titles at welterweight, and was ranked in the top 4 pound for pound." This view was also shared by boxer Erickson Lubin, who questioned Crawford's own resume. "No disrespect, but I don't think Crawford really fought anyone either," Lubin wrote in response to Crawford's comments. Moving up weight classes and stopping 11 out of 12 opponents is what we should really be crediting him for. Despite Crawford's growing popularity after his dominant win over Spence, he now finds himself at the center of a heated debate. With titles in 4 weight divisions and becoming undisputed in 2 of them,
If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I don't know if he's going to win or lose, but I'll definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So if he can do it, he started at, 147. So, I mean, if he...
Terence Crawford delivered a stunning beatdown of Errol Spence in their long-awaited unification bout, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion in nearly 4 decades and solidifying his claim as the world's best fighter, regardless of weight class. Crawford knocked Spence down in the 2nd round and twice more in the 7th, before referee Harvey Dock stopped the fight at 2:32 of round 9. No one in the sold-out crowd of 1990 at the T-Mobile Arena would have objected if the referee had stepped in sooner. The highly anticipated fight, more than 5 years in the making, was billed as the best matchup boxing could offer. After a competitive first round, it quickly became a showcase of Crawford's generational talent. The 35-year-old Nebraskan proved his greatness with a brilliant display of power, precision, and ring generalship, making a top-tier opponent look like an amateur. Crawford, a former champion at 135 lbs and 140 lbs, entered the fight as a slight favorite and became the first fighter to hold all the recognized world titles at welterweight since 1986, when Lloyd Honeyghan upset Donald Curry to capture the CI, BA, WBC, and IBF belts. Crawford's win came at the expense of Spence, a 2012 U.S. Olympian whose methodical southpaw jab and pressure-based style were no match for Crawford's dynamic switch-hitting and flawless counterpunching.
Have a fish fry come Saturday. Man, you gotta calm down, brother. Cause listen, man, things can get real sticky real quick, and then everybody would say, this is what we do every time we come out. This is what we do when we come out.
Terence Crawford knocked Errol Spence down for the first time in 29 professional fights during the 2nd round of their welterweight title unification bout on Saturday. "I only dreamed of being a world champion," said Crawford, who extended his streak to 11 straight knockouts, including all 8 opponents he's faced since moving up to 147 lbs. "I'm an overachiever. Nobody believed in me when I was coming up, but I made everyone a believer. I want to thank Spence and his team, because without him, none of this would have been possible." Spence was the busier fighter in the opening round, using his jab to measure distance and targeting Crawford's midsection. The naturally bigger man used quick footwork and a strong body attack to push Crawford back into the 2nd round. However, when Spence overextended with a right hand to the body that missed badly, Crawford made him pay with a perfectly timed counter that dropped him to the canvas for the first time in his career. From there, it only got worse for Spence. He came out for the 3rd round determined to show his fighting spirit, throwing heavy shots, but Crawford easily parried and blocked them. By the 4th round, Spence was bleeding from a cut over his right eye as the difference in hand speed became clear.
Got the confidence to come out there and just be like, okay, well, even the skills to say, all right, let me see how you gonna take a punch to the chin. Let me see how you gonna take a punch to the body. Let me see how you gonna react when you can't bully somebody around.
Good, I just fed the dog.
Okay. So my mind was, you know what I mean, it was racing a little bit. And I was like, man, how should I come out? And it was like, man, just come out boxing. Listen, just like you talking, just like you doing all that talking, bro, it can turn deadly real quick. But on both sides, so why not support, listen, why not support your fighter? Support your fighter.
"He was just throwing the hard jab," Spence said. "He was timing his jab. His timing was just on point. I wasn't surprised by his speed or his accuracy. It was everything I expected." The punishment continued to pile up in the 5th and 6th rounds as Crawford badly outclassed his tiring opponent, leaving Spence's face bloodied and swollen. Spence went down for the 2nd time early in the 7th from a combination of punches, then went down again from a powerful right hook in the final seconds of the round. At that point, it was only a matter of time. Crawford, known for being a ruthless finisher, poured on the pressure until Spence was left defenseless, wobbling on shaky legs in the 9th round. Once Crawford landed a series of 9 straight, uncontested,